So this is one of my favorite bits of running a film festival. This is where we get behind the creation process. We get to talk to the directors and figure out a little bit about their process and what the film means to them, and which of course is going to mean to us. So let's go. So please introduce yourself, tell us the name of your film, and give us a little brief summary of your film.
I'm Karni.
I'm Saul, nice to meet you.
And we are speaking to you from Bristol, UK, with the directors of Wild Salmon, which is a natural history fantasy. It's the story of the salmon fish in form of a woman, of a human woman.
It Turns Blue is my third film, which I wrote, directed, and produced along with three other producers.
Hello, my name is Filonenko, and I'm a filmmaker and the only crew member of the film that you just watched.
My name is Greg, and I'm the founder of the company, and John is our artist who we made the documentary about.
My name is Simone Brioni. I'm associate professor in the Department of English at Stony Brook University, and I'm from Borgo Satollo, which is a small village in which the film was shot. The film is about the colonial legacy and memory.
Hi, my name is Constantinos Nikiforou. I am a film producer from Cyprus, and this is my fourth short film that I have directed. The last one was 2005, so it has been a good while.
So my name is Arwa Damon, and I have been a journalist, mostly reporting from war zones for about the last 20 years now. This opportunity to make this documentary just kind of was a result of a collision of my years of experience of reporting, the fact that I had started a charity dealing with war impacted children, and of course my own personal deep love and experience with mountains.
Tell us a little bit about the genesis of the film. How did it come about?
Well, it was a lucky coincidence. I was on a ferry here in Cork going across the river, and there was a car in front of me with a sign on the back saying GM Media video filming and drone filming. So I phoned the number on the back of the car as I was on the ferry, and Greg answered the phone, and I asked him if he would be interested in doing a promotion video for my paintings. So he said he'd like to see them first. And coincidentally, he was coming to my town of Cove. So he said he'd come straight away to my house. And within 10 minutes of looking around my house, he turned around to me and he said, "Actually, John, I'd like to make a documentary about you and your life, because what you have here seems very interesting and perfect for making my first documentary."
But this one came about just by being a lot of nature. We love the rivers here in England. We spend a lot of time around them, and I guess we were just looking for a way to make a film with fantasy that deals with an animal that usually people tend to offer less sympathy to.
And I remember being specifically on the Ukrainian border with Poland and watching refugees coming across. And this was a scene that I had seen many, many times in my careers, related to Syria, related to Iraq, related to, these different war zones. And my mind was juxtaposing what I was seeing in front of me with Ukrainians coming across, and just exhausted mothers dragging suitcases, dragging tired children, that shock on their faces, that way that, can this really be my life? Is this really happening to me? Just plays across a person's features. And in front of that image that I saw in front of me, I was also seeing, images that I had seen in the past. And I remember telling the INARA team, this needs to be bigger than the work that INARA does, this Kilimanjaro expedition that we're doing. We need to really bring in people from different war zones, and allow them to interact with each other, and really make this about creating broader awareness about the impact of war.
Well, there are several origins to this film, but let's say first comes the discovery and the feeling, and I felt very uncomfortable holding into my hands these photographs, which, of course, told about a story of exploitation, violence, and at the time I was also collaborating with the writer Geneviève Macaping to think about the reverse gaze, the reversal of the gaze, the somehow the black look, to use Bell Hooks' words. And in this film, somehow we look at the white side. We look at how this distant relative, even if we don't know if he was a supporter of the regime or not. He came from a socialist family, but nonetheless, there is a specific way of looking, imagining in Africa, which is still informing some narratives about migration.
In Iran, as a patriarchal country, religion and tradition often cross over and empower each other to encourage the society to hide and conceal the violence. Like, for example, mothers would tell their daughters to bear the violence from their husband, and they introduced it as a sign of love, as a sign of passion. And children are often told that the violence that they receive from their parents is part of their unconditional love for them.
Now, for the technical minded amongst us, how long did it take you to shoot and edit the film?
Well, I think that's the fastest film production film that you've encountered. The process was very similar to writing a poem, because once I had the idea, I wrote the script, and then it was just me by myself acting. So I acted it in one shot, and that was pretty much it. There's obviously no editing involved in it.
Yeah, we shot the film in 5 days. The whole film, because the whole story is taking place in a taxi, was on a processed trailer. So anything in the background that you see while we're shooting it doesn't really matter, because the whole story was concentrated within the cavity of the taxi. That was the main thing. So it was a story being told in movement, and the dialogues and everything. We had to actually redo the whole route, which it didn't matter what route that was, in order to get the dialogue and the story out to the audience.
It's a tricky question, because we pitched it as soon as lockdown started in London, and we went into the BFI office. We said to them, we want to become fish. We want to be fish, and it was because we were thinking of this very immersive journey in filmmaking. And then lockdown came around, and humanity was on the journey for survival. But we took our time to make it slower than usual. So we developed and kind of built the character over the first year during all the lockdowns. And then we left on this journey to film in Iceland for a couple of months once lockdown eased. And we went as a family on an art residency and filmed all the backgrounds, and then came back to animate. So I think all in all, it was close to 2 years.
Making a film is a crazy, crazy thing. There's many great, beautiful, unexpected, difficult things that happen during the shooting process. Do you have any stories about that?
Working with children brings up a lot of funny stories, yet it's very hard and actually at some points educating. Like the fact that she was very excited about putting her hands and in the paint, and she wanted to she actually was really excited about putting her hands on the wall. And this wasn't something that we planned for, because in the script she doesn't want to play with her father, but in the real life she was very excited to do that. Or for example, when the scene that she's eating, her father is feeding her, she really liked that pasta, and she really wanted to being fed by the man, and this wasn't something that we planned for.
So the day I presented it, my school professor actually told the class that his wife's mother has passed away recently, and that she's been the light of their family, and that they were really trying to cope with that grief that they were experiencing. I mean, obviously, it's not an entertaining story, but I think I almost feel like the sense of grief that was in the air from our previous conversations kind of translated into this film.
I think the highlight was the visit to the president's palace, the Áras an Uachtaráin in Dublin, and we had a wonderful time. We were allocated 5 minutes, but it ended up being about nearly half an hour with the president, and he was very friendly. He hugged me 3 times. It was a wonderful experience for us all, really.
It was the first time that I was shooting a whole film on a process trailer that was pulling the actual car, and it was quite challenging, and there were some funny parts that we were all trying to balance on the process trailer. And of course, we had a police escort at the front and the back, and it was the main shots were filmed during the weekend where the city was mostly empty. But it was quite strange because people were looking at us in a very weird way because it's not something they're used to seeing in Cyprus.
We live and we learn, and when you make an independent film, I think it takes it up tenfold. What lessons did you learn making this film?
In fact, I was living in an illusion. No, I thought I always perceived colonialism as something that didn't, affect my own family history because, I spoke with many of my relatives and they didn't know about this story. But in fact, I was part of that story and benefiting also directly from this decolonial enterprise.
It's a very different format than what I'm used to. We and I make decisions very quickly. Like, it's news, it's there, it's dangerous. You need to be on your toes all the time. You need to be making snap decisions. And I operate naturally, but then also because of my career at a very different pace than the documentary world does. So that was a massive adjustment for me.
There's millions of them, but actually lesson that strengthened, if there's one lesson that we learned is that sometimes when we decide something to do something which is kind of against the flow in the industry, to do something quite slowly with your family, and it really worked out. I mean, I think we offered ourselves and our kids a once in a lifetime experience, hopefully more than once, but a very massive one. And it was a very special kind of non-industry production. So that's kind of the lesson I learned.
So you're competing with dozens of other independent filmmakers from all around the world here at ÉCU 2024. How does that make you feel?
I would be a liar if I said that I don't like competition, because if you always do something and you don't get any feedback, whether that's negative or positive, I don't think anyone can progress. So competing with amazing filmmakers is even more challenging. I'm not expecting anything, but at least I will see the reactions and see what the new trends are and see what the rest of the guys are doing and what's there to be watched.
I really get excited when I'm in the competition with others, and I'm sure that there are brilliant filmmakers, and this brings me joy and excitement altogether.
And as an artist, I'm extremely proud to be part of this film and to be part of all the film festivals that we're involved in. But I think the European Independent Film Festival is probably the top one.
I think there is always, festivals are a great opportunity for exchange, direct or indirect exchange. So I look forward to it.
But I'm also, I'm excited for this documentary to, get out into the world and, hopefully touch people in a way that they didn't expect. But I'm nervous. I'm very, very nervous.
Independent filmmaking tends to be very personal and powerful filmmaking. So, we're always big fans of that personally.
And I'm incredibly thankful to the film festival for giving me this opportunity to actually bring it to the audience. And I really hope that I can make it to the festival itself and meet all other wonderful filmmakers there.